right, we are back with another PrizePicks video. This one's going to be a little bit different than usual. We're not attacking a specific sport. We're actually going to just attack the entirety of PrizePicks as it states right now and see if we can find any value. So you'll be able to not only get 6 of my plays, it's going to be a hybrid slip here, but you'll be able to see my thought process, how I'm finding these plays, and how I use the tools that I have access to. If you're interested in any of the tools I do use, all the video links are in the description for free trials on all of them, so I highly recommend doing that. Now, people did want to see the update on the video picks from the NBA video earlier, so we're going to be going over that. If you want to just take those picks now, I do highly recommend watching that other video to see the analysis and the data points that we looked at and how we came up with those bets in the first place. But let me pull up the picks from the earlier NBA video, and we'll see if anything's changed. 4 of these plays are still on the board. The only 2 plays that have gotten bumped were Mitchell Robinson got bumped up to 9 rebounds from 8.5. We got him at 8.5 earlier. And then Jeremy Sohan was at 5.5 rebounds. He's now at 5. So I actually plugged it into OddsJam to kind of see where they're at in terms of percentage to hit. And looks like Brook Lopez is still at a 53.83% chance to go under this line. Really, really liking that. Nothing changing there. McDaniels, 53.04. Loving that with all our other data points. From Outlier and looking at the different stats, the opponent's ranking and all of that into consideration. Loving that. 52.64% chance to go under for Zach Collins. Still liking that one. And then Mitchell Robinson, this was the first bump, over 50.49% chance. I'd probably still rock with this one. Again, we got him at over 8.5, and it was a very solid chance to go over that. At 9, if you're scared of push potential, maybe go off of it. But I think I'd still go with Mitchell Robinson. Still got over a 50% chance to go over, and we talked about his matchups and everything like that. Sohan, 48.74% chance to go under 5. I'm probably not touching this one here. That looks like a push to me. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets 5 rebounds. But at 5.5, there was a lot of value. Just not seeing it as much here at the 5.0 line. And then Zubats. I mean, this is going to happen. I actually haven't seen it happen in a while. But Zubac's line actually shifted to the under here. The over here. So we got him at 9.5 rebounds and assists. That's the line we took. But we took the over. And now, 10 hours later or so, they've totally shifted gears and now saying this is a 48% chance to go under and like a 52% chance or whatever it is to go over. So Zubats, I definitely stay away from him in these updated lines. But we showed the reasoning why we went with him earlier in the day. The odds were liking it back then. Solid matchup for him going up against San Antonio. So yeah, we're definitely staying away from this one now. But everything else looks good. Sohan, I wouldn't play the bump. Mitch Robinson, I would play the bump, and all these other guys are still rocking with. But let's go kind of into how I attack the day. So we'll go ahead and clear these guys out of here. And let's hop over to RotoWire. That's usually where I'll start my day, especially for NBA lineups. This will be able to see, any of the matchups for today, the lines, the spreads, the over-unders, anything like that, even the referees if you want to look into that. But the main thing that I look for is projected lineups and injuries. And I want to be able to see what those injuries mean. So not only using my knowledge, but statistics on when these guys are missing games and they're off the court. So specifically today, nothing too crazy in terms of injuries. We see Murray's been out, Jay Crowder's been out. Dern's an interesting one. If he's out, maybe you can attack this Detroit game, but not a game I'm attacking until I know what Dern's doing. But Boston is kind of the first one that I see as a potential spot to take advantage of. We have no Al Horford and we have no Derek White. So we can click on off-court stats and see right away, Jaylen Brown's getting a 7.7% usage boost when these guys are off the floor. And it makes sense that Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard, the two, one of the first 2 guys off the bench, are also getting a boost when Al Horford, the main bench player, is not playing. So this makes sense to me. It's something I probably want to attack. And then going a little further, maybe I'd say, okay, Jaylen Brown points. I wonder what his points line's at, and I wonder if that's a good play to go with. So Celtics lines are actually starting to drop. They weren't out earlier, but looks we're getting 21.5 for Jaylen Brown. And this will be one that, honestly, RotoWire is going to give me this play because 21.5, that doesn't seem like a very high line for a guy that's getting a big usage boost today without Derek White and without Al Horford. So we can go to their on-off stats. That's just by clicking this button to see on-off stats, and then you can go into a little bit farther. And we get to see that, get these guys out of here, and we see that Jaylen Brown, in those 8 games with these guys off the floor, in the per 36 minutes, he'll probably get around 36 minutes. we're seeing that he's averaging 31 points per game. So a 10-point boost with a huge usage rate as well without those guys on the floor. So could be a big night against an easy team in Charlotte. So this is a pick that I'm going to start with, and it's one that came right from RotoWire in the injury news and being able to see the difference in the usage of Jaylen Brown with those guys out, so taking advantage of that. So that will be kind of where I start the day. I did kind of go ahead and look at this and was able to, identify where I want to go with it. Again, not a huge injury day, but the other thing I'd mention is maybe no Devin Vassell for the Spurs. So Keldon Johnson's scoring might see a little boost there. And then Golden State with no Draymond Green. I always want to think about maybe a Wiggins rebound line or something like that. So those are the only two things. Celtics, as they continue to come onto the board, I think are definitely our best value. Jaylen Brown is going to be the pick we're getting from RotoWire. So once I understand, who's playing in the NBA, the injuries, and what that might mean, then I can go ahead and tack kind of PrizePicks as a whole. So I'd go off RotoWire and I'd go over to OddsJam. And the first thing I'd do on OddsJam is I'd refresh the page. This is integrated with PrizePicks, so it will automatically give you the picks that are only on PrizePicks. It's not you don't have to worry about these picks not being on PrizePicks. Now, you'll be able to see, again, this is all of PrizePicks right now, and you'll be able to see there's only one green play, so not too hot of a board right now, but sometimes there's 10 green plays, 15 green plays that you can attack, especially when they're dropping lines. So, for instance, the other day, I saw that Donovan Mitchell got ruled out for the Cavs, and I went over to OddsJam and I'd refresh the page, and looks like they had dropped Garland and Strus's lines way too low. Other sportsbooks had them way higher, or much higher percentage to go over that. And they were like 66% chance to hit. So I attacked those. I ended up making a 5-man slip, and it hit. So really, really powerful tool. You can go on it throughout the all day and just take the greens if you want. That's kind of what I do for esports and things like that. So I'm on the lookout for, is there any esports lines that I don't really have to look into very more often, or more to make solid plays, or if there's NBA plays that I'm maybe knowledgeable enough to just understand. But that's how I look at this and say, okay, where are we going to start? And once I get rid of these Valorant plays and check them off, am I going to use them or not, then I keep going down. So this NHL play, another orange play. This line's at 3. Other sportsbooks got them at 2.5. And they still have them to go under about plus 100. So not only are we getting it 3 at PrizePicks, other places got it at 2.5 pretty consistently, and the odds aren't even that crazy. So this is looking like a 3 or under play, and if you're okay with a push, this is definitely something to be interested in. And I just keep moving down the list. Once I find a player that I can search, so like Jake Elliott under kicking points is something that's looking out for the Monday Night Football game. And odds are really liking this, minus 145 on BetMGM, minus 136 on Pinnacle. And a whole bunch of these other sports books have this line very heavily favored to go under. And we're getting it at minus 119 when we're using 5 or 6 man flex plays on PrizePicks. So I continue going under, looking at these. Once I see a play that I like, I'd go over to Outlier and kind of check that play out. So we just looked at Jake Elliott. We can go to NFL, and we can find his page. We'll go to Jake Elliott, and we'll see over kicking points, or was it under? Under kicking points is very heavily favored. In 2023, looks like he's gone under this in only 2 games. So this is something personally I wouldn't take. But so even though it's an orange bet and very, very heavily favored, I don't like the matchup of only doing this 2 in 9 games. I know he's going up against the Kansas City Chiefs, who allow the least amount of kicking points per against them per. Not even per game, just on the year, 27. So it's a good matchup, but it scares me that he's been crushing this line in a lot of these games. So this is something personally I might not be taking, but that's kind of my thought process on being able to see plays on OddsJam, and then being able to take in my own knowledge and also the knowledge of how they've been doing so far this year, their matchups and everything like that, and being able to make slips. I will now continue to go on to this side. So sometimes I start on OddsJam. That's nice and easy because it's integrated with PrizePicks. I don't have to worry about it not being on the app. But sometimes I also start on Outlier. So let's go to NBA just because there's a whole bunch of games today. And first thing I would do is I go to minimum odds and I type in minus 135. Now you can drop this to minus 130 or even minus like 128 if you keep finding picks that aren't on PrizePicks. But I like 135 just because I've gotten pretty solid, pretty quick at it, and understanding that, like, okay, I see FanDuel's got this at minus 140 and minus 142. So this over assist line, I bet, is already pushed up to 6.0 on PrizePicks if I had to take a guess. So we can go look at Ingram. And assist line is at 6.0. So again, I've been pretty solid, or I've been doing this a decent amount of time, so I understand what lines have probably already been bumped. But I like to see the option of having minus 135 odds because that's probably the best you're going to get on PrizePicks at any given time. All right, so I went ahead and went through PrizePicks and figured out some plays that I like on top of the video picks from the NBA video. And seeing like I got 5 plays for you guys. We have some NHL, we have some more NBA, we even have some college basketball. Still not seeing a ton of value in that Monday Night Football game, so I apologize for not including any of those. And I'm not going to specifically go into all these just because I showed you my thought process. This is more of an informative video and a follow-up video from the previous one I posted earlier. So definitely go check out that video. Jaylen Brown, I do want to show you on OddsJam. That was the pick that we got from our injury news on RotoWire. But if we go ahead and take a look at Jaylen Brown, we will see that he has a decent chance of going over this line based on other sports books. His points line is a 53.32% chance to go over, and a lot of these sports books are favoring him at a minus 145, minus 130, 145 on Caesars. Some of his lines, like Bovada's already got him bumped up to 22.5, and it's pretty, even money on that over and under. So not too bad there. So Jaylen Brown, definitely a solid play. And then all these other ones, again, went through my process and found these other plays. So let's go ahead and zoom in and go over them. Jaylen Brown over 21.5 points. Evander Kane over 0.5 points. Jason Robertson under 3.0 shots on goal. Malik Renew over 22.0 points, rebounds, assists. And then Zion Williamson under 11.5 rebounds and assists. So again, just a follow-up video. This one's coming in later in the day. I don't know how many of you guys will see it. But kind of my thought process on how I make picks and some extra plays for you guys. So that will do it. Let's make some money tonight, guys, and peace out.